I have with me now the President and CEO of Sterling Asset Management, Charles Ross, and the Vice President of Fixed Income and Foreign Exchange at Sterling Asset Management, Eugene Stanley. Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ricardo.
Thank you so much for being with me. Let me start as I always do. And I say always, this is just my second time being, but let me start as I did last year by asking, what is Sterling Asset Management and what do you do?
Okay, we are a licensed securities dealer, and we cater mainly to people looking for medium to long-term fixed income investments. And we specialize in US dollars because that holds its value over the medium to long term. And in the global marketplace, there's a wide variety of securities available so that you can really fit securities to whatever the investment risk appetite and investment horizon is, that particular investor may have.
Mm. And I'm told that you've reported strong growth despite the challenging market conditions. What are the factors that you would say are to be credited for that kind of resilience?
Well, one of the things that we do is that we look ahead of the market, and we look at the global macro environment, particularly in the US, and we try to anticipate the trends in interest rates and economic activity. And I think that we were able to position ourselves very well last year when there was quite a lot of disruption in the market. And there were very attractive yields available from pretty high quality securities. We were able to position ourselves in them. And so this year we're really reaping the benefits of that.
How do you do that kind of predicting, anticipating in this kind of volatile environment? And I'm thinking of who sits in the White House now and sometimes the pressure that he tries to bring to bear on the Fed. How do you do that kind of predicting?
I don't know, Eugene.
Yeah, sure. Sure. It's not easy, but we have experience on our side. We've been doing this for many years. And we've also been through many cycles. We've been through low interest rate cycles. We've been through high interest rate cycles. But what we tend to do, we look, as Charles mentioned, we look at the interest rate outlook. During the post-COVID, when inflation globally was a problem and central banks responded by increasing interest rates, we positioned our portfolio in anticipation of that by reducing what we call duration. So we tend to search for lower dated securities. Notwithstanding, they still provided significant yield compared to what they were yielding before because we're entering a period of higher interest rates. And so during rising interest rates, we position our portfolio for shorter duration. And then as interest rates peaked and were about to come down, then we started extending duration. So we're able to lock in those higher yields for much longer.
And I imagine you lean a lot on that kind of experience and know-how when you make your pitch to the investors.
Quite so. And our investors, as you said, we're celebrating 25 years. So many of our investors have been with us in excess of 10 years. And they have we have helped them to build wealth over that time. They have entrusted their hard-earned monies to us. To generate wealth for not just from themselves, but for their generation to come. And we have been approaching that investing with discipline, probity, and conservatism is kind of what we preach. We realize that whereas you can get higher returns on more riskier things, you may not necessarily be getting the best return for the risk that you're taking. And so we tend to employ conservatism and generate risk returns for investors.
And I imagine that's a part of why you've existed for 25 years. For someone who's listening and who may want to invest and says to themselves, boy, the global environment is so volatile and I don't know what that's going to mean for a small economy like Jamaica. What do you say to them this afternoon?
Okay, well, Ricardo, there's one other thing that we should mention, which is that we stay tuned into global developments through Bloomberg. We have 3 Bloomberg terminals in the office, and so we're all able to keep up to date with the latest information and a very wide range of opinion and also outlook. So that's one of the very important things that we use. In terms of the impact, your question is a very good one. And one of the reasons why we like to deal in the global market is because there is a vast array of securities from a vast array of issuers, so that you're able to not just leave yourself vulnerable to what may happen to small places like Jamaica, in this very volatile and slightly oppressive international environment. Right. We're able to purchase securities from much larger economies that are much better insulated to, withstand and weather the storm, so to speak.
And given the current economic environment, what would you say is the most important takeaway for local investors who may be seeking growth and stability?
Well, let me take a bite of that first, Charles. One thing I would say for investors is try not to pay too much attention to the short-term noise or short-term headlines, because the truth is short-term headlines.
Isn't that hard to do? It
is hard, but it becomes easier if you think long-term and you focus on the medium to long-term investing, which is what we stress for investors. Yeah. And so with that kind of mindset, you don't worry too much about what's happening short-term. What you do with short-term, and interestingly, you kind of look forward to those kind of short-term noise and gyrations in the market, because then they provide you with opportunities to add to your long-term portfolio. So you can acquire assets at better value, cheaper, and you can lock in your returns for longer. So you're not necessarily going to rush and sell your good quality investments because there are trade wars or there are wars around. The truth is, they've always been around. Wars have always been around. We've survived, and they will continue to be around. So as long as you maintain that long-term investment focus and use those short-term gyrations to add to your portfolio, then you will be building wealth for the future.
Yeah. How are you leaning into celebrating 25 years as a milestone in shaping your outlook for investors?
Well, that's a very good question, and it's one that we've put to our marketing team.
I think Tony will actually speak some more about that as well.
If you talk to Tony on later, maybe she'll expound. But yes, it is a very important milestone, and we are in the process of preparing ourselves for it and really planning to give our clients a good time and recognize them especially in that year.
All right. For my listeners and my viewers, what can they expect from the panel discussions that we will hear this evening?
Well, as you mentioned in your introduction, we're going to hear from somebody who's on the front line. Shavuot's International is a small agro-processing company that's been heavily focused on the export market and have done very well in that, but they're going to be faced now with the tariffs, with developments in the local economy, which, in the last year or so haven't been so favorable for exporters, and so, he'll speak from the front line. Yeah. We also have Valerie from the IDB. Mm-hmm. This is a major international organization. They straddle the entire Western Hemisphere, and so they will have a very keen understanding of what this means for the region, and just how disruptive these tariffs could be for the regional economies and for the U.S. economy itself. Yeah. Because there's going to be an impact there as well.
Mm-hmm. And Eugene Stanley, talk to me a little bit about why it's so important to have a briefing like this.
It is important, and especially in this time where there are so many things happening internationally, which can also impact us locally. It is important that we continue to educate our investors and educate the public at large and bring sound investment advice to them while they navigate these difficult times, and just basically holding their hands and guiding them along, and and ensure that they continue to achieve their investment goals and objectives along the way.
Yeah, and Ricardo, you asked the very question earlier, just a while ago, how do you ignore the noise in all of this? And that's a really important question, because everybody is subject to that noise, and it gets amplified, and it can really be disturbing for people who, are looking to the medium to long term. They have their investments which they're relying on for their income and sustenance. Right. And, there's a lot of it's always the bad news, that's making the headlines.
She says, that's all I see, bad news,
So this is part of our effort to help them look beyond that, and to reassure them about, what we're doing and what they should be doing.
And in that environment of, jitters, noise, what sets Sterling apart? Why shouldn't investors consider somebody else?
well, we kind of touched on that earlier. For one, we've been around a very long time, and we've been doing this, this song for a very long time as well. We have been specializing in US dollar investment since inception. There are very few companies in Jamaica, financial house in Jamaica, that actually does that, and so we have that as to our advantage. As Charles also mentioned, we have a very robust research program in place. We access a lot of information through Bloomberg, and that's how we actually keep in touch with the markets. But we also have a very strong investor broker network, which we also rely on, for guidance, for asset selection, and that kind of thing. So it's a partnership that we have developed over the years, and we continue to bring sound investment advice and sound financial products to our investors.
All right. And obviously 25 years, they couldn't have been flooding it for all that time. So there's obviously a lot of truth to it. Charles Ross is the president and CEO of Sterling Asset Management Limited. Eugene Stanley is the vice president of fixed income and foreign exchange. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ricardo.
All right.